He was so famous that in fact the name became almost more famous than the images. And by the time he died, I mean, he was legendary, really. He's one of these characters that you think of as legendary, a really extraordinary name. He's very funny. You smile when you look at a Rockwell. I mean, these boys, they just make you smile in recognition, I suppose. It's what everybody's childhood. But there's never really any malice there. It's always benign.
The classic charge against Rockwell is that he trades in sentimental kitsch. And for me, I mean, it's hard looking at this image to see beyond that perception.
Rockwell is working for clients. So the kitchen sentimentality, you might accuse the Saturday Evening Post of that. Rockwell,
he was just giving them what they wanted.
He gives them what they want. You could say, we have here in this gallery 17th century Dutch paintings that actually speak something very similar to Rockwell's language. The realism of detail, the interaction of people, the engagement of character, they're all there. In doing his commercial work, and he is always an illustrator, you must remember he's always an illustrator, you cannot deny the fact he has many of the same skills to an exceptional degree. I think this is one of the best images in the show, really. This is Rockwell 1931 at the height of his powers. He's already very, very famous by this point. And it gives you an idea, you know, this is a full-scale oil painting. It's a cover for the Saturday Evening Post. Very complicated composition, but also very gorgeous. I mean, it's actually a lovely image.
But you must have, I mean, it's interesting when you think about the wider context of American art at the time, because in a sense, Rockwell is the anti-Hopper. Yes. If Hopper was doing this scene, it would be a moment of true despair. His images are saturated in melancholia, and those are emotions which you just don't find in a Rockwell. No. I mean, maybe, I mean, is there one here where you think there's a melancholy moment?
There's probably one or two in the covers, but it's not what, I mean, that wouldn't sell a magazine. You see, Hopper is in some of the same territory again, but you know, he's a fine artist. He's painting something for a museum. Rockwell's museum is the cover of a magazine. I mean, it's a different audience. It's hard to compare. These are the original magazine covers, and it's an absolutely complete collection. So you can follow the way he's developing as he goes along, and you know, there are moments that you see on these images where he suddenly broadens out the image, and you lose the circle. You see, the circle is still there, but only notionally.
What sort of reach would the images have had? I mean, how many people were reading the magazine per week?
I mean, millions. It was the broadest, widest circulation in America, and it just reached right across the country. And whenever there was a Rockwell cover, the circulation numbers absolutely boomed.
This isn't so much the realm of fine art as very much kind of popular culture, which is interesting from a point of view of understanding mid-century America and what it was about, how its citizens wanted to see themselves. Fascinating stuff, but as works of art?
Well, why not? Illustrators tend to be pigeonholed, and I think it would be sheer snobbery not to look at Rockwell, who I think is wonderful. Frankly, I don't care. I don't care about the debate about whether he's a fine artist, whether he's an illustrator, whether he's a real painter, whether or not. I don't care. I love him. I think he's wonderful. And that's all I want to say. And if you love him here, you might well go out and find you love Rembrandt as well. And I don't really see that you need to distinguish and say, I'm loving this in a different way.